Welcome back to the training on mastering our communication. Well, to start off, when we have face-to-face communication and telephonic communication, in this session we will be talking about written communication. Why do we need written communication? The answer is that written communication is a formal mode of communication. It creates and maintains goodwill between the exchanging parties. And most importantly, written communication serves as an evidence of the understanding reached or proposed. Written communication is extremely important when you are maintaining a professional relationship. And for some of us who feel not so natural in interpersonal communication, written communication is what they can rely on, as it's independent of interpersonal skills. Let's look at different types of written communication: emails, letters, and memos. Let's look at this typical email. Let me tell you, there are a lot of errors in this email. Why don't you take a minute, pause the video and look at the email to see how many errors can you spot. One of the mistakes is that the writer has failed to set some context about his disappearing ink pen, about the benefits or why would the receiver need it in the first place. There are a lot of spelling mistakes, as you can see on the screen. Another common mistake while writing email that one must avoid is usage of very long sentences. The greeting is also missing from the email. Ideally, it should say, "Dear sir, good morning, good afternoon," or "greetings of the day," or something of that sort. Also see the way the email is ending. There is no "with regards, sincerely, yours truly," etc. All that is missing. Apart from the name, there is no other contact detail that the receiver can look at. And most important and common mistake is to forget attaching the file that you want to send. Email writing is one of the most critical written communication skills you will develop as a professional. Now we're going to learn a SPICE model of email writing. SPICE is an acronym in which each of the letters they stand for a word. S stands for subject line, P stands for proper salutation, I stands for include message, C stands for closing line, and E stands for end with signature. Let's look at the subject line first. The subject line is extremely important in your email writing business, and it should ideally clearly summarize your message in the subject line itself. Avoid writing generic subject lines like important or "can we discuss this?" Always try to summarize your message in the subject line itself. One other advantage to writing a good subject line is that the receiver can properly title the message and help and prioritize their emails. Here are some examples of a bad and a good subject line. A bad subject line would be to only say "deadline discussion," and a good subject line would put in more details and say "recommend we ship product on April 25th. Can you think of some other good subject lines? Can you come up with some good subject lines for the emails that you write for business? Proper salutation. We have to maintain professionalism. Always use "Dear Mr., Miss or Mrs. and the last name. It's important to know that when you use the salutation Mr., Miss or Mrs., you always use the last name. Or you could simply write "Dear Sir." You can also address the recipient by the first name if it is in line with your organization culture. Saying "hi" in place of "dear" is acceptable sometimes if the communication is informal. Sometimes writing "dear all" or "dear team" is also acceptable. If we are addressing more than one person, we could write "Dear Mr. X, Mr. Y and Mrs. Q." This way, all the three recipients will feel important. Here are some examples of bad salutation and good salutation. A bad salutation is to write "Dear all" or to just say "hi" without the name. A good salutation is always personalized. So you would say "Dear Mr. Singh" or "Good afternoon, Miss Bala." Include message. Keep your messages short and focused. Restrict main message to one screen in length. If it's a long message, break into paragraphs or bullet points. Use simple, easy to understand language. And always check for tone. If the message that you have written is longer than what can finish in the size of the screen, take most of the supporting material and put it into an attachment. Tone is more important than ever to be aware of your tone in all your written communication. You see, when you write something, you know what you mean, but the recipient can't always read what you mean. In any communication, your intent is irrelevant. The only thing that matters is the perception of the receiver. Perception is reality. So here are some suggestions to help communicate the right tone. Always use assertive tone and not aggressive tone. Use power words and phrases. And always hit think before you hit send, which means that you must reread your message before you hit the send button. The best way is to have someone else read your written communication before you send it, and to make sure your tone is appropriate. If it's not possible to have someone else read the communication, set it aside for a few minutes, then come back and reread it. Examples of power words. 7 phrases that you can use in your communication to make it more positive and assertive. Definitely, surely, certainly, please, thank you, apologize, trust you will, I am glad or so sorry to hear that. Hopefully, we will look into this right away. Here are some examples of bad tone and good tone in an email communication. Saying you will have to, I need you to, looks very aggressive. You should replace this kind of language with, could you please, and then mention what you want them to do. Also, to ask something like a report or any information, either you can say, where is your, and mention the name of the report, which will make up for a more aggressive tone, or you could replace that with a more courteous and assertive tone, like please update me on your progress. Let's now discuss the closing line. Closing line should always be relevant and with a formal approach. For example, while closing an email or a communication, you could say something like, looking forward to meeting you, if a meeting was being asked for. Kindly look into the matter. If you have submitted something that requires their attention, request you to take appropriate action in case you are asking them to do something. Looking forward to your cooperation. You could use some other lines like, should you have any clarifications, please feel free to contact me, which assures the customer that you're there to support him. Here is an example of a bad closing line. Hope you know what to do. Now this comes across as very aggressive. You could replace this with something more courteous and assertive, like looking forward for your support and cooperation as always. Always end your email with a signature. Use of formal approach such as thanks and sincerely and kind regards are mostly acceptable in all business situations. A bad signature is typically an informal signature. For example, writing cheers or some kind of an acronym which people may not be familiar with. You should always preset your signature in your email service. Here are the key elements of the official signature. It should have your full name, your designation, company name, logo, contact details, anything else which is mandated by the company. For example, company vision, awards won, TIN number, etc. For internal communication or frequent communication, such long signatures can be avoided. Now here are some tips to help you respond to emails more effectively. Address your email recipients correctly. Introduce the email body on a good note. Always answer all questions in the email and anticipate other questions. And don't forget the KISS formula, which is keep it simple and sweet. And always sign off quarterly. Here are some critical do's and don'ts while managing your business communication through emails. Be mindful of the proxy settings. If you don't know what these are, you can check with your IT team. Be aware of the different fields like to, CC, BCC. And make sure while hitting the reply button if you need to reply to one person or reply to all. If your email is important, you can inform before or after sending the email, especially if it is on the weekend. One should respond to all emails promptly. Do not attach unnecessary trail mails, use smiley icons, or use official mails for personal purposes. Here are some more tips to make your email writing more powerful. Always pay attention to formatting. Avoid fancy fonts, abbreviations and capital case. Check for spelling errors. It's always a good idea to format your email in a word processor like Microsoft Word and then copy paste it from your Word to your email service. You should always name the attachments properly. Always send zipped files in case of heavy attachment, and do not mark all emails urgent. There you go. With this, we have completed this course on mastering your communication. Hope you have made notes and committed to applying these techniques to improve your communication. Thank you.